Hey, this is Al McGhee with your entertainment ticket at www.yeticket.com. I'm here with Orrin Bolton. He's a musician, he's an author, he's a world traveler. Also, he's the brother of Michael Bolton. But we're here to talk about Orrin. Man, this guy is very exciting. He has a lot to talk about. I'm excited that he's here. Welcome, Orrin.
Wonderful to be with you, Al. Been looking forward to this for a while.
Me too, man. I'm really excited to talk to you because you got a very fascinating life. First of all, when you're a young guy, you traveled, you lived in some foreign countries. For example, you lived in Afghanistan back in the day. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'd been performing in the Netherlands, and I knew from the time probably I was 13 years old that one day I'd live in India. And so I left from Amsterdam and flew to New Delhi, India, and then went overland to Afghanistan in 1973, and arrived just in time for the first insertion of the Soviets, actually. I was there for 9 months, and then next thing I knew, 4 o'clock in the morning, troop transports were running through town collecting Westerners, and made it back to India and was stranded there for a year, and I wrote a book about it. Got a couple books, and this book is called Vagabundo, and it's about my experiences in India and Afghanistan, and it's a true story, and it's about my brother and myself, actually, and I'm really looking forward to bringing it out with the other material that I have.
Man, in 1973, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I was in the Air Force because I was getting drafted to the Army, so I went into the Air Force. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. At least you knew where you wanted to go in 1973. I mean, that was very mature for you.
Well, I knew where I wanted to go from the time I was 12. I read a book called Siddhartha and another book called Journey to the East, and it made sense to me about a young man's search for something beyond what he was experiencing. So I knew in my heart where I was going, and then by the time I got to the Netherlands and I would see Westerners arriving seasonally on their return from that area, it made sense. That's why I was able to jump to New Delhi from the Netherlands.
Now, but even in that time period of your life, did you realize that you was still looking for something, searching for something for you?
I was hanging 10. I was surfing I just felt like it was ordained. Whatever was happening was all part and parcel of something that was ordained, and I was comfortable with that. It's been an exciting journey, and it still continues to be an exciting blessing. So, you know, we're blessed with this life. What we do with it is our business, and if you're comfortable with that, there's surprises all along the way beyond your expectations.
Well, along your journey so far, or your journey back in the past, you have been a musician. You have also wrote. Now, you have had some gold records too, and you also have managed your brother, and you also, played in other bands. Tell us about that.
Actually, the gold and platinum that I have on the wall are through my affiliation with my brother. When I returned from India, which I never thought I would, it was back in the day when they didn't even have fax machines available. I was on the other side of the planet after that Afghani experience, and I really thought I'd never see my family again. And when I was able to return, emaciated and quite thin and so on and so forth, I found that my brother, who had been kicking it from the time he was 13 years old, still hadn't been able to achieve that holy grail, the commitment from a major label. And within a year, I got him his first major deal, his first major record.
You did that?
Yes. I was his manager. We also started a publishing company and a production company. Because we'd already been schooled, we'd had our publishing taken from us in early deals and been through the whole Music Biz 101. So I just picked up where we dropped off. We were in bands together from the time we were kids, but now we were adults, and now it was time to take care of business. And because I'd been delivered back to the United States, I felt this was my mission. And I think Michael's going to be okay.
But how did you learn a lot about the music business?
My mother loved music, and from the time we were children, we'd be watching Ed Sullivan, and she'd say, "Did you hear that? He hit a C note. Did you hear that vocal variation? He got that from Sam Cooke." Just my mother really, aside from her love of music, would tell us what was happening and what was important, so on and so forth, because it was just the most joyous thing that she experienced besides, her family life. And as soon as we could get our hands around the neck of a guitar, we were in it. And then it's just, you develop your vocal prowess, you find masters, individuals who play better than you, who sing better than you, and it becomes part of you. You are what you do. No?
And I want to say you're still blessed with the presence of your mother. She's what, 94 now?
Yeah, she's 94 years old, and
That's great.
I know I'm experiencing every moment with it because life is short, and you make the most of it. But clock's ticking, time marches on
For all of us.
Yep.
But she also, again, she saw that musical ability in both you guys.
Well, she encouraged it. Let's say that. My father was a politician and an athlete, so the accolades came from our prowess on the field. And the political machine politics, actually, which turned me off and pushed me more into radical politics, came from my experience with my father, who was really all about machine politics, and we know how that works. But you just assimilate what is around you. And little by little, the people fall away, and those individuals who are focused find their way. If they don't get distracted, or whatever their karma may be. And I think life is a great deal of perception on how you perceive things to be. Half full or half empty.
Right.
And finding good company, and having faith all of the time that there's a way to weather whatever's happening in the present, and then, next frame, and you're on to the next thing until that last breath.
Right.
So, man, I'm very, very grateful to be here. I'm grateful for what I've been able to do for my brother and for what he's able to do for me, because it's been a long, long road. So, my life is pretty simplistic these days. I wrote 3 books.
What are the name of them?
Well, we had a property in Jamaica for 10 years in the West End, up in the cliffs, and wrote a book called Justice, and it's a thriller. And it's my most recent book. And I've got another book called Confessions, which is a cautionary tale for young people about substance abuse and how it works. And there's, a little scientific section in the middle that shows how chemicals work inside your brain. It's not preachy, it's pretty funny, and it's very, very true. And anyone who reads it is going to know it's coming from the right source. And the book I'm most excited about now is Vagabundo, which is about my leaving my brother and the band and heading to Amsterdam and then to New Delhi, going overland to Afghanistan, the Afghani experience, then being stranded in India for a year. There's nothing but spit on the ground. You can't pull together anything in that place. It's only by God's grace that you're able to get from one point to another. But it was well over a year before I was able to get back to the United States, and I was all raggedy. And what do I find? Michael still doesn't have a record deal, and he's still kicking it. His voice is strong, and he's still as focused as ever. But he's in New Haven, Connecticut, and there's not really a music industry there. So because of the dues that we paid and the lessons that we learned, I was able to sign him to a publishing, production, and management agreement. And as I said, just hit it, and within a year we had our first major record deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a family affair. That's really great, Orrin. Yeah. Now, what inspired you to write, or how did you know that you could write?
Well, you really don't. You mean writing, literary writing, or
Yes.
music writing?
Well, both. Let's go with literary first.
What
What inspired you to write?
A good question. I'm just realizing it now. I took a creative writing course in the 7th grade, and oh my God, that was the first year of busing in New Haven, Connecticut. They
Really?
actually integrated the school and bused kids from the other side of town. I'm just realizing that. That's where a lot of musical influence came from as well. And the creative writing class was a good primer for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, I started writing really great, what I think was really great stuff, and I realized that a lot of it had to do with the rudimentary foundation that I had acquired through education. And as far as the music, you write until somebody likes it, and if they like it, they cover it, and if they cover it, then you've got a licensed song, and
Right.
when that starts happening, that's wonderful.
Right.
And actually, my brother had great success with that before he was strong enough to be able to run himself with his material. So the industry has changed quite a bit, but songwriting is still the basis, that pool which everyone goes to. So those songwriters out there, you keep doing it because the industry needs you. And you take a song, John Fogerty's Proud Mary. You know, Tina Turner gets a piece of it. She makes it her own. Who even thinks about John Fogerty when you hear Proud Mary? You hear Tina Turner. And so if a songwriter can get his song to the right artist or multiple artists who have a specific style and can serve that song and let the song serve them, then everybody profits, and it's just a fulfilling experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when you know that you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're basically pleasing yourself, which is all right too, because that's where it all starts. And you know, that's I guess that's the only way that you really know you're doing something right, is if it's pleasing you. And if it pleases you and it pleases other people, you might actually be able to make a career of it.
Yeah. Well, who you listen to today?
As far as artists?
Yeah, as far as artists, musical artists.
I try not to, actually. You know, I appreciate what I hear live. I'll jump to hear any new live artist, especially if they're a singer-songwriter. But I don't have much. I don't want to be distracted with what's currently on available, and I like to hear it raw. So if you can hear somebody coming up that there's a buzz about,
Mm-hmm.
I will travel any distance to hear an artist and see what they're about, because I'm basically looking for material. I'm a music publisher. So it's about writing songs, collaborating with other artists, putting artists together. Sometimes you think you've got a song and then you realize, you know, actually you need help. You run into the wall and you try to find other individuals who also have pieces and parts. And it's a process. But when it clicks, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm like that. I got to see them live. Forget the record, CD, whatever they call it today.
Yep.
Live is what turns me on. If they cannot perform live, I'm done with them.
I agree. The smoke and mirrors, which is actually helpful in promoting an artist. You take 10 artists, all of equal ability, and you throw, which is my specialty as back in the day, some smoke and mirrors on it to define one artist as extraordinary. After the smoke and mirrors fade, and those other 9 artists have gone their own way, the substance of the artist that you've put your money on is still there. So you've brought attention to the artist stands alone, guitar in his hands on a single stool, and you've been able to steal the eyes of the public and the ears of the public by doing whatever it is that you do to define that artist as worthy of someone's attention. So I've really enjoyed promotion more than anything. Mm-hmm. And I did that for my brother on the road after getting him his first deal. We went out, opened up for Bob Seger. We did a national tour with Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. And my job was to establish the fan base and let people know who Michael Bolton was. And, you know, doing for Michael was the prime priority in my family. Before myself. It's really curious that I come back from Afghanistan all beaten up and stuff, and the end is still look out for Michael, and that's where the time, the energy, and everything else went. And you know the deal is, I see people all the time, local individuals who wouldn't have crossed the street to see my brother and myself perform live for free, but you know, a handful of Grammys later and a little money, and suddenly, like, you know, everybody wants to be, you know, your best friend. And so I'm glad now to be getting back to performing. And, you know, I got a CD out of my stuff, and hopefully I'll be licensing a couple more songs. But really what I really want to get out there are my books. And in the music business, you learn that, you know, there are a lot of artists who suddenly become very popular, but after their first album or CD, they don't have any material. They've lost their edge. Mm-hmm. And so it's best to have stuff in the pipeline. So having 3 books right now and having an agent to represent it is a big up for me. And Vagabundo is going to be the first effort, and then we'll see what happens with the other pieces, the other literary work.
Well, Orrin, I want to thank you very much for coming on Your Entertainment Ticket, and it's really a pleasure meeting you, and I'm going to look more for your information and keep up the good work.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Orrin.
Really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al.
And thank you for watching Your Entertainment Ticket. Hey, we got much more coming up.
We are your entertainment ticket, that's right. YETV.com. We are your